What's up, everyone? It's Cannan, back with another video. And as 2021 starts to fizzle out pretty much, 2022 really, if you think about it, is pretty exciting when it comes to video game releases. From large mainstream titles like Horizon Forbidden West to niche, smaller titles that, yes, have a large fan base, but the mainstream is not talking about them, like Rune Factory 5, which comes out in March. I'm probably more excited for that game than any other game that's coming out in 2022, but more on that game later, maybe when we get closer to March, because I do plan to do a Let's Play of that, and unlike my Story of Seasons Let's Plays, I do plan on doing a full one of that. But what I'm going to talk about is another game that is slated to release in 2022 that I'm very, very excited about, and that is RWBY Arrowfell, the second RWBY video game to ever come out following Grim Eclipse. And a lot of people are very hyped for this game. There's a good number of people in the fandom who feel like Grim Eclipse was kind of a letdown, even though it saw a lot of playtime when it first came out. And I have to admit, I've never fully finished Grim Eclipse. I'm still waiting on my collector's edition for the Switch, which, I pre-ordered back in the summer, and still not heard anything. They still say that everything is in progress and, stuff like that, which, there's a pandemic going on and stuff is hard to get a hold of, so I understand it. I just wish they would contact me. But the moment I get that, I will be doing an unboxing of it, and hopefully I can do a Let's Play of it before Arrowfell comes out, because I would like to actually finish that game before this comes out. But with this being an upcoming video game and some of the details that we already know, I decided, you know what? How about I do a wish list of some sort of what I would like to see in this game. Now, of course, I could probably do a 10 list. Does that even make sense? You guys know what I mean. But 10 would just be way too much, because you guys know how much I like to blabber my mouth. So I chose just 5 to just, list what I'd like to see in this game. Some of them I hope are in this game, but yeah, probably not going to get most of this. I don't know. This is some pretty basic stuff that I'm hoping's in this game. But yeah, so we don't know a ton yet. We know that it's going to have about 8 minutes worth of cutscenes in it that are actually animated like the show, and things like that. But overall, they're being very tight-lipped about the story. They're being very tight-lipped about anything really besides what we've seen. We do know that it's coming out in 2022. I believe when they very first announced it, they were hoping it would have been out this year, but that's understandable that things got delayed. But yes, Arrowfell is planned to come out in 2022 for, I believe it is coming for PC plus PS4, PS5, Xbox, and the Switch. It's definitely getting a digital release, and some platforms will get a physical release. Hopefully one of those is the Switch, because I do plan to get this for the Switch just so it can go with Grim Eclipse. But anyway, let's get to my wish list. I'm going to go from 5 to 1. So 5 is not the most important, to number 1 being what I think is the most important. All right, so number 5, I'm hoping for forgiving gameplay. I have been very vocal in the past that I am not really good at side-scrolling platformers. I pretty much suck at them. I think the last ones I ever played were the original Mega Man X games back in the day. I've just never been good at them. There are a lot of games on the original NES that were pretty much like this, side-scrolling platforming and all that I played, that I will say to this day is those games are way more harder than any game that comes out today. But I'm kind of hoping for enough there to actually present a challenge, but I hope it's not to where people are going to be rage quitting this game because they timed a jump wrong 20 different times, or they get to a boss that they just can't get through because they're so low on health by the time you get there. Hopefully there's like, if you get hit, there's stuff on the stage that'll give you, that'll heal you. I'm sure there will be. Also, the fact that this isn't pick a character and then do the stage. You pick a stage and you can start out as Ruby and then switch to Weiss, Blake, or Yang anytime during the stage. That's going to tell me that there's probably going to be some areas or some enemies that one member is going to have an advantage, or bosses that one member of the team is going to have an advantage over than the others. Say it's like there's a boss that will be successful to Blake's semblance, you know, or there's one boss that only Yang can pound through because it's like a beefy, you know, it's a tank boss pretty much. Like it's going to take all this damage, so you've got to use a member of the team that can dish out a lot of damage. I can definitely see myself screwing up and getting killed while swapping out members or something like that, but hopefully it's challenging, but it's not so challenging that there's going to be people who rage quit this game and never beat it, because some of those games can be pretty challenging. Now, you know, you've got games like Metroid Dread that recently came out. I've still not got to play it, but, you know, it's in the vein of those kind of games, you know. A nice, good challenge, but it's beatable, you know, because a lot of people were beating that game really fast. I don't know if that means that people just found it easy or it was people who were just really good at those kind of games. But, yeah, forgiving gameplay, please. Be nice to us who are not very good at side scrollers. So moving on to number 4, we have customization. I would love there to be some kind of customization in the game, and it would kind of be like how it was in Grim Eclipse. You finish a stage, you get so many points that go toward a level up in a way, and then you can get points to level up skills. I don't know if there will be any kind of weapon upgrades or armor upgrades. That way you don't take as much damage in this game. But, yeah, it would give you a reason to maybe replay a level and gain more levels and gain more skill points to go toward. Like, say you beat a level, then you go ahead and jump to the next level, but it turns out to be way too hard. Enemies are causing way too much damage, so you got to replay some of the older levels to level up a little bit. I know a lot of people don't like level grinding. I know that gets annoying, but I think that should be in these kind of games, to where you have to be a certain level of strength before you can continue on. Now, I know in like the Mega Man X games, some stages would be harder unless you had a particular power from a boss or an armor set that you could find in the earlier stages. If you had that armor set, it would make getting through the stage way easier. Maybe something like that. Maybe where like there's hidden items in a stage, and if you find it, you it'll make the game or the boss of that level way easier. Now, since we've not seen a whole lot of the stages or like how intricate they're going to be, they might just be a completely straight line with no really anywhere to hide an item. Then we may get to some later in the game where there are. So yeah, I think some level of customization would go very far in this game. Next, number 3 is a big for me, and that's high replay value. Please have there be something in this game that encourages you to play it again. Now, I'm not really a big fan of locking endings behind having to play a game a second time. Like, if you play the game for the first time and they lock it to where you can only get the normal or bad ending, and then you have to play the game all over again to be able to get the true ending. I'm not a big fan of that. But, like, have there be, well, it kind of goes into what number 2, but give us an incentive. Be like, oh, you'll get this if you play the game through again, or you'll get this if you play it on a higher difficulty level. Just give me a reason to want to play this game over again, instead of playing it all through once just to get the story and then setting it down and then not playing it again until I'm in the mood for it. It always bummed me when great games would come out, but there's little to no replay value after that, because you're just going to be playing the game all the way through again the same way you did last time, and it doesn't result in anything different. But we don't know how much is really going into this game, so they might not be able to do that. But that's one up there that, this might be a one and done, and it might not be. I know a lot of people are not fans of it, but DLC, they could release like a DLC of something, where I could definitely see maybe, I don't know. Since this game is taking place in a specific time during Volume 7, I doubt they can add any kind of expansion to it or anything. So maybe no DLC, maybe power-ups or something, just little stuff that would cost like less than $1. I don't know. But I'm not a big fan of putting stuff like that in games anyway, but just give us something that'll make us want to play it again right away. So that's it for number 3. Number 2, unlockables. Okay, so this goes kind of with number 3 in a way. I love it when a game has like stuff you can unlock if you keep playing the game, or if you hit a certain, like, defeat 100 enemies and unlock this, defeat 200 enemies, unlock this, and usually it's small stuff like art of the stages or character art. I don't know if they'll be able to do anything like outfits since it's like a 2D game, but like, new outfits for the girls, new looks for their weapons, put something in it's like, hey, play this on hard difficulty and unlock this, probably beating the game for the first time will unlock like a gallery where you can look at art and all that. Or a movie player where you can watch the cutscenes. And who knows, they might, I doubt they would, but like, to get this very special cutscene, you have to do this in the game, like beat this level in 2 minutes or less to unlock this, just little things like that I would really, really enjoy. I think it would go with number 3, high replay value. Oh, I want to unlock that, so I need to keep playing, just something to make sure this game doesn't die within a couple of months, because the main people who are going to buy this game are RWBY fans. Let's just go ahead and say, yeah, this is definitely going to be a major buy for RWBY fans and probably Rooster Teeth fans in general. So you don't want that to be the only people who buy the game. You do want to try and cater to outside fans to bring them in, and they become RWBY fans and they start watching the show and then buying merch and all that. So you got to give the game a reason to last. Like if it's just a one and done, then the sales for this game are not going to do good compared to other games coming out in 2022. 2022 is going to be a battlefield of video games. So that's one thing I think that would help them, is putting a lot of unlockables, not DLC, but unlockables that are already in the game. But yeah, if they do that and maybe give some kind of incentive to keep playing, the game will do very well. The game will do well anyway, because, the RWBY fandom is not small. It's a very large community. So, but I would like to see it hit even higher numbers. So hopefully there is an incentive to where this just, as I said, is not a one and done game. Okay, so my number 1 wish list item is, I hope the story is important. Because a lot of people, that's one of the biggest gripes people had for Grim Eclipse, is that they came out and said that technically, yes, it is a canon story. It did happen. And they said that it happens between volumes 2 and 3. But the thing is, the events of the game are never mentioned in the show at all. And I do not remember 100% when Grim Eclipse came out. It may have came out after volume 3. I'm not sure. Or I can't remember off the top of my head. But, and it's going to be kind of the same way with this game. This game happens during the montage part of volume 7. So it's going to take place within those, however long they were in Atlas before, you know, things really started picking up. So, of course, nothing's going to be mentioned about it in the rest of Volume 7, and nothing is mentioned about it in Volume 8. So that's one thing that kind of worries me. Like, is this game really, like, is it just going to give us maybe some character development for certain characters to explain things or decisions that happen in Volume 7 and 8? But there's also things like Team Briar. What happened to them? They're in this game, but they're never mentioned in Volume 7 or 8. Maybe they will be in 9, who knows? But, you know, a lot of theories going on about them, that they're actually bad. They may be a huntress team that became bandits because they're never seen and they were never mentioned. But, who knows? Maybe there's something that happens in this game that'll have an effect on the story in the show later down the road. Because, you know, that's one great thing about RWBY. It's long-term storytelling. Something that happens in one volume may not be addressed until much later. It's the same way, you know, with a lot of games that do long-term storytelling correctly, like Final Fantasy XIV. There's stuff that happened in A Realm Reborn that still gets touched upon in later expansions. So, who knows where they could tie this in, because we've not played the game yet. We don't know. Grim Eclipse, they kind of just let die, sadly. Kind of hoping, since they did the whole re-release on the Switch, maybe we'll get a little nod to it in the show eventually. But, yeah, just I hope we learned something in this game during its story that points to something that happened in Volume 7 or 8, and let's go, oh, okay, so that's what that is. Or maybe something that'll happen, we'll see in Volume 9. Who knows? Or beyond that, who knows? Because I really just don't want to think that they came, like, it seems like they had a plan for this game by placing it during the montage part of Volume 7. Like, it's like they knew a little story they wanted to tell that happened during all that. So, we'll see. Or, sadly, it could be just like Grim Eclipse. It could just be a one-and-done story that happened and it was concluded, so there's no reason to touch upon it in the show. And, you know, Grim Eclipse is not the only game that did that. There was also a game for The Legend of Korra that takes place between the events of Book 2 and Book 3, and I believe it was said that, yes, it is considered canon, but it's never mentioned in Books 3 or 4. Like, the events of it are never touched upon. It was kind of a standalone story that, yeah, happened, but it didn't really serve anything to the plot of Books 3 or 4. So, that could happen, but the game's not released yet. No one's played it yet. We won't know until it eventually comes out and people start beating it. I will be doing a Let's Play of it. Hopefully I'm good at it. Hopefully I don't stink it up. But, yeah, that's my wish list for RWBY Arrowfell. Very in general, you know, I think some things like customization and unlockables probably is going to be a thing in this game. It seems like that kind of game. Forgiving gameplay, that depends. High replay value, that's to be seen. And the story, I really hope this story has like something that will make RWBY fans go, oh my gosh, you know, I really hope so. I really hope that I hope it's way more important than Grim Eclipse ended up being. Let's just say that. If it is, I'll be happy. If it's not, I'll be sad. But I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'm sure a lot of other people will enjoy it. But, okay, guys, that's enough from me. As always, guys, this is Canaan. Me and Jess love you all very, very much. Stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.